member, I have had the opportunity to visit this community rather regularly. Unfortunately, I just don't have the opportunity or the permission from the courts to go out and examine properties on my own. Therefore, I need your eyes and ears. I need you guys, if you see something wrong, to call us, and I'll be more than happy to go out and examine the property, send out the notices of violations if at all possible, and if it's deemed necessary. If the property owners don't respond to those, then of course they're cited on a regular basis. I just want you all to know that I'm aware of the situations out here. I just don't have the permission from the courts to go out and say, okay, this place is bad, this place is bad. That's considered selective enforcement. What I need is a complaint from you, the citizens of this community, to bring it to my attention, and then I go out and take a look at it.
Well, generally, there's a new board in Cecil Township with 2 new members. It's not a full majority, but with new members, we need a feel from our board to see what kind of enforcement we want. There's the philosophy that you go out and respond to complaints all the time and answer calls, but there's also some mentality is that we want your code enforcement officer going out looking for things. And it's a new board now, and I haven't even pinned that down yet, that through the years, when I first started here, the township, they never would basically, I call it looking for trouble. They would just respond whenever they get a call. And they did respond to every call, but I've been on with boards where they actually want the guy to be driving up and down the streets looking for violations. And, you know.
And I've worked in municipalities where they've done that, and it's a double-edged sword. It's good in one respect, but then if you pick on someone or go to someone and say, look, you got to pick this up, then it becomes extremely political, and that could be an adversary to the department, the community, and this administration. So we try to avoid anything like that.
But how do you feel about being in an older village here? What would you rather see the township do? I mean,
well, I do want to say this. From the time I was down at the township and I addressed the issue of the yards and so on, there has been a dramatic improvement. Because I have checked the yards rather, not the homes, and they are much cleaner than they have ever been.
Yeah, I try. As soon as I get the complaint, I go out that day and take a look at it and send out the notices.
Well, apparently it's been very effective.
I've had good response from both the complainants and from the property owners. So,
and if I continue to see, I will let you know.
I sure would appreciate it, because like I said, I need you people to be my eyes and ears.
I think there's a lot less unregistered, uninspected vehicles in the neighborhood. I mean, I know that there's at least one on Maple Street right now that has been sitting there for over a year with...
The back alley.
No, not the back alley, but on the front street of Maple, actually.
Yeah, and just so you know, I can't address vehicles on the street.
Okay,
I can
well...
only deal with it on private property. If it's on the street, it's a police issue, and I hate passing the buck.
Well,
I just don't have the authority to do that.
Same thing, you know, if you want to call down the office, give us the information. You typically don't have to call on one, but
yeah, it's on that
call
one.
down, yeah, absolutely, we'll address it.
Okay.
I'd like to ask you all something. We're here to hear what you have to say, what things are concerned to you, or as Bob just said, the improvements that you've seen, but also any issues that concern all of you.
How does the township determine when they're going to resurface or redo the road or the alley? Our alley's beginning, I'm talking about Cypress Way, it's beginning to get pretty nasty.
Cypress Way
is on my whiteboard for paving.
Pardon?
Cypress Way is on my whiteboard in my office for paving. Yes,
Oh,
it's
okay.
paving this year.
All right.
I have a couple of alleyways up here that I have to address this year. I have a couple of ongoing issues right now up in the Muse community. One's at 170 Locust Street. I have a unidentified water seepage problem over there, and I also have a problem over 52 Beach Street, a water seepage problem over there that the water company has been called out on. They've tested and sounded it, and they're telling me it's not theirs. Spoke to Greg Bingham from the water company yesterday, and informed him that if I have to go out there and saw cut that pavement and dig it and find out that it is his, then I'll have to maintain force account records, but they're gonna get billed for the time for my guys, my equipment, and materials that I have to use to locate one of their leaks. So, he's supposed to send a crew back out here to Locust Street sometime tomorrow to re-sod that. What I have on Locust Street, Frank called me the other day.
Mr. Beach.
What's that?
Locust.
Locust. Frank called me the other day and said there was a sinkhole. Huh?
Yeah, by Larry, Larry Sanchez.
That was marked off.
Yeah, I marked that off for a one call here. So anyway, long story short, they came out and tested it once. When I spoke to him yesterday, I informed him that he should have opened the manhole up about 25 feet downstream from where that sinkhole is at. He'd see water seeping through the side of the manhole stack down there. We poked a hole through the sinkhole, put some dye in there, and waited about 10 minutes. And that dye is being carried into the manhole about 4.5, 5 feet down the manhole stack. The invert elevation from the sanitary is probably about 12 feet. So he's going to bring a crew back out here and try to sound it again. But it takes some time to get them hopping and jumping, and we'll get them hopping and jumping, especially after they get an invoice for our time out here cutting up roadways. Now over on 52 Beach Street, that's been an ongoing problem all winter. We have springs that we're aware of over on Mulberry Way. Again, we want to get into the spring, dig down with a backhoe, drop some dye in there, throw the dirt back on, wait to see if that uridine dye doesn't show up out on Beach Street. There's a little alleyway there between Mulberry Way and Beach Street, and there are some areas that are wet, but with the ground conditions right now, it's just not conducive to having that dye flow through there in an expeditious manner. That dye will disperse before it actually gets there. So, and the other part right now is the asphalt plants are closed. Once I dig that up, the only thing I have is cold patch to put in there, and that's very difficult to maintain over the winter time. So, very shortly here, we're hoping probably within the next 2 or 3 weeks, the asphalt plants open up again. We'll be out to saw cut and investigate and try to determine where that's coming from. And I talked to the resident up at 52 Beach Street, Tony, and she tells me she doesn't hear any water running with the valves off. So sometimes if you have a leak between the service valve and the house, you'll hear that water running through the pipes. The best way I can tell you to listen for that is to take a screwdriver and put it on the pipe and put it right up to your ear. And 9 times out of 10, you will hear something running if it's running between the valve box and your regulator or your shut-off valve in the house. So, but that's what I have going on out here. I have Cypress Way, and I think Short Alley is on my whiteboard, and I think there's one other, Mulberry Way is a huge issue, and I'm not sure if we'll get to the paving this year, but I have to get up there and put under drain in this year. There are springs all along Mulberry Way. And that's pretty much the information I have for these right now.
Bill,
Yes.
the new thing it's doing now is there's mud coming up between the asphalt and the sidewalk.
Oh, is there?
It was just water before, and it would form the ice on the street. Now there's mud coming up all along there. It just started maybe yesterday, day before. Maybe it thawed out a little
We
bit.
got some thaw, so that so it may be prime time to put some dye down there.
I happened to be coming home today when somebody was going down the street. When they hit that, the whole road went up and it was like, oh my.
Well, I'll send an auto
right
over
now,
to Bart and look at it again. I talked to Justin. He showed me where he thinks the source of that spring is at in his yard. I think his name is Justin. Justin.
He has something
yes.
to say.
He showed me where he thinks the source of that spring is at in his yard. So we'll dig a hole, we'll throw some dye in there, put the dirt back on top, and wait for it to show up somewhere.
There's a big hole there now.
Is there?
Yeah.
We'll come up and take a look at it tomorrow.
Bill, they didn't have this problem until they started working on the gas lines. They
Yeah,
come
that's-
up there, they drilled holes for the gas, not
Yes.
the gas.
Yes.
And they did about 4 service lines, and now all of a sudden,
Yeah,
the water problem.
That's
So
what
maybe the
Bernardo was
gas
telling
company hit the water line and
it's,
it's fallen into place.
it appears that it may be originating up where that gas, the utility patch is for the
Right.
gas.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Exactly.
So, but they're in denial about whether it's actually theirs or not. I recently had a problem over in Lawrence at the post office, and they kept swearing up and down that it wasn't theirs. And we'd go out and we'd test it, and we would re-inform them that the Department of Public Works does not own water. We don't generate it, we don't push it anywhere, you know. But it took, I don't know, maybe 2.5 months, 3 months, and they finally came to the table when the guys would come up through the road. And it looked like a well spout coming up. And then they couldn't deny it was their problem. But in the meantime, the poor property owner, the guy that owns the post office here, he was getting hammered with the water, and there's really nothing, we knew that it was the water, we just couldn't get him to come to the table on it, you know, so.
But all the water's running down the gutter line now.
Yes.
Right down where the roads drop down like 3.5 inches. now.
Yes, we've
When
been,
the water runs down the gutter line, it's running right under the road. It ain't going all the way.
it's not making it all the way. Yeah, well, I'll send Renato up tomorrow morning to take a look at it.
Which is wedge curve.
There's been a change in conditions since we've had the warmer weather, so. That's good to hear that there's mud coming out, because it might be a spring that we have to divert. So, and that's one of the issues that we have up on Mulberry Way, is to capture that water and directing it into an inlet up there. So